The JGWicki Show!
It is recording too. Yeah, it's great.
It's the JGWicki Show!
That was off. That was off to it.
It's the skateboard too, if you want to do a kickflip or something. Just don't break that camera. Alright, tonight we got a special interview here with Michael Hoffman. He's the Cincinnati folk singer and his Uptown band. He's the leader of that thing. What, you alright? Alright, without further ado, here we go. Michael motherfucking Hoffman. Woo! Alright!
It's great to be here, man.
It's gonna be riotous. How you doing tonight?
Yeah, it's a good time.
What are you up to? That's good. See, I usually don't do the
you.
handshake on intros. I'm just like, hey, get over here, and you're all professional.
Yeah, all right. That was a great show. I'm happy to be here on the JGWicki Show.
It's really great to have you. I was sitting at the bar the other night, and I got drunk, and I really wanted to hear a song from you. And so I had to call you down here and be like, all right, how am I getting him down here? And I was like, if I have him in an interview, maybe he'll come down. And I did. And you came
I was
down
happy
here.
to come down and hear an interview.
So, so you're Cincinnati folk singer.
Cincinnati folk singer.
And so what do you live in Cincinnati?
I live in Cincinnati.
What's your address?
I'm not going to give my address out, but I'm glad there's people. I'm glad you want to know.
I think yeah. I was there once, wasn't I? You don't live there anymore, but I was at your house for a little bit.
So JGWicki here and we met at the Foxfire Freedom Festival, and my band was about to play Cincinnati Folk Singers Uptown Band, and back then it was Greg Zoller was playing bass, and Elia, my current bassist, was on drums.
Hi, Elia.
Elia, what's up? Because our band was one of the first bands to play, and I was in another band that was literally the last band to play, so I was there all day. But I remember when I first got there, there was nobody there, and you were there, and you said hello to us, and we met then, and we just kind of ignored you. And then later, you came up to us, and you were like, oh, I guess the sound guy didn't show up. I guess I'm the sound guy now. And you started doing sound for us. That's how we met. And I guess you liked us, and you invited us over to your studio, but he didn't have a studio, so it was my house. He invited himself over to his studio, which is my house, and we recorded an album there.
We did. That's a good story. That's a good way to put that.
So that was
I
the
like
time
that.
you came to my house. Well, you were the only person.
I was,
that
yeah.
early.
It was Aaron Hedrick was running sound for the weekend, and I was just there as the PA kind of, but he came and left. It was, but that was a great time. I had a lot of fun at the Foxfire Fest. I got a lot of good footage out of there too. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can see a lot of footage from there.
JGWicki, right?
Mm-hmm. YouTube.com/JGWicki is the actual plug I should put. Have you always lived in Cincinnati? Is that where you grew up? Kind of
I grew up just north of Cincinnati in a city called Wyoming, Ohio. So,
I've seen that on the map.
It's on there.
You went to school in Wyoming? I don't know. Is that what you did?
Yeah, I guess you could say I'm a product of a Wyoming City School District.
Then you went to college, right? And UC? Is that right?
Well, I went to Warren Wilson College for a semester, and I started studying music there. And they told me they didn't have a music program, so I left. And then I worked on a farm and worked for the Park Service, and I went to UC.
You worked for the Park Services?
So, yeah, state of Maryland Park Services.
State of Maryland?
Yep. It's the only state that would hire me. I applied for Montana, all the beautiful stuff out west, but ended up in Maryland. Martin O'Malley was my mayor or governor when I was out there.
Huh. How long did you do that?
That was about a year. It was a AmeriCorps position. I think it was like 10 or 11 months. So
that's awesome.
You do 1,700 hours.
Congratulations, that's good work. Yeah, a lot of great people come out of those programs.
I don't know. Folk singers come out of there, so I don't know if I can say good people come out of there.
I'm learning a lot about you. This is great. Are you okay? You comfortable? You want a shot?
No, I feel good. Feel good, man.
So how old were you when you did that?
When I did what?
The AmeriCorps stuff.
I was, it was after high school. I was 19 years old, maybe, I think, 18 or 19.
And then you went to college in Maryland.
I went to University of Cincinnati. It's in Ohio. Cincinnati Folk Singers Uptown Band. But, no, I'm from Cincinnati. So I moved back to Ohio, and I thought, I had in-state tuition. I was still an Ohio resident. I wasn't in Maryland. I was in Maryland long enough to be a resident, but I just kept my Ohio residency. And get that in-state tuition.
Right, yeah,
so
you got to do that.
Education, learned a lot, and graduated and became a folk singer.
How, dude? Did you get your bachelor's in folk singing?
Well, I got my bachelor's in cellular molecular biology, and then my idea was that I was gonna be a doctor, and I decided that instead of going to medical school, what I would do is I would be a folk singer.
And busk.
Busk.
Instead of being a
On
doctor, you
good
just
day.
busk.
On a good day, yeah.
It's a good juxtaposition there.
On a good day, I busk. Today, I didn't do anything. I came down here.
You're doing this,
Last
yeah,
couple
which
days,
is kind of like nothing. It really is.
Yeah, they don't pay me for this.
Yeah. We do this for fun and for the fans, I guess.
This is actually fun, apparently. So this is the most fun I've had in a couple
This is
days.
fun in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, here, folks. Hanging out above the studio or in the studio.
Last time I was down here, I don't know. We did that. We recorded some videos out here, my band, and we did the High Lonesome Whistle video that's on Wiki's site, and we did. You put Love Song from Prison.
Love
up there.
Song from Prison. That's a good one.
But speaking of fun, that wasn't fun. But when we were out here, there was a parade out there in the middle of our recording. So we heard bagpipes and saw all these cars go by, and people were cheering, I think. And I was like, man, yeah, Lawrenceburg. I didn't know it was like a Tuesday night or something. Lawrenceburg had some good times. I thought Lawrenceburg had some fun stuff going on, but it ended up being a funeral. But the bagpipes are cool, so that was kind of fun.
Right.
No, that was the most fun, I guess.
It was really neat. I've actually driven by the firehouse is on the street my house is, and I'll drive by there sometimes and they'll be out practicing. And I actually have some footage of them doing that. If I can find it, I might throw it in here. But
Oh, the bagpipes?
yeah, I got to get this up quick.
You got to get them in the studio.
That's a good idea. Cincinnati Folk Singers, Uptown Band, folks. Go buy their CD. I mixed and mastered it, and I recorded it. I'm the recording engineer on this. Woo! And we had a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll put that up after, I don't know, before the story. I don't know. I'll put it in there somewhere.
Here's a song called Alcohol, Rhythm, and Blues on Cincinnati Folk Singer. You can't rush these kind of things, you know? Stage here don't give me any room, but it's a little bit more than I'm used to. I left the window open last night, hoping the storm would reach inside. But the barricade left me with a broken heart. I'm standing rooming lonely in the back of a car. Oh, alcohol, rhythm and blues. Even though no one will thank me for getting them lost, you'll be a little bit stronger with a smoker's cough. You can hate yourself with pictures on the wall. There be cages on your windows and locks on your doors, so that no one will find out what you're in there for. May there be alcohol, rhythm and blues. There be alcohol, there be some rhythm too. when you're running down the hall of a hospital, but it could have been your wedding day. Oh, alcohol, rhythm and blues. Oh, the highway is a parking lot. You spend the rest of your time stopped. Oh, alcohol, maybe some rhythm too. When everybody asks you what you came here for, you spit it out and leave it at the door. On your way out, you gonna shout it like it's all you got. Oh, alcohol, rhythm and blues. Alcohol, rhythm and blues. Alcohol, rhythm and blues.
So you're, so you're a folk singer in Cincinnati, obviously. I'll probably use the first one. It's probably better. But and you got this like folk band. But how long have you been playing music, like as an individual?
I started playing music when I was so I went to I told you I went to Wyoming City Schools in Ohio, and that's confusing. I went to Vermont Elementary School, actually.
Yeah?
In Wyoming City Schools in Ohio. Nice. In at Vermont Elementary School, when you're in fourth grade, you can start taking a string instrument. They require you to do a music class. And so you can do a stringed instrument. So you can do violin, and viola, cello, and bass. And there was this really nice woman, Mrs. Schneider, and she was the teacher. And I'm the middle of 5 kids. And I got 4 siblings, and my 2 older siblings did string instruments in 4th grade. But if you don't do stringed instruments, then you're just like in general music class. So I was in general music class. And then in 5th grade, you have an option to play a band instrument. Not like a rock band instrument, like the woodwinds, brass, percussion, that kind of stuff. Okay. So they're in a band. And so my mom, I told my mom I wanted to do that. So I was just going to do general music in 4th grade. And my mom made me play the clarinet in 5th grade because, I came from a Jewish family. And Benny Goodman was a Jewish clarinet player. So I thought, I thought clarinet was kind of cool. My mom thought it was really cool. So I could play klezmer music. And so I started playing clarinet in 5th grade was the idea. But my mom was like, you know what? He's a little bit slow. Let's start him in 4th grade. So I started taking private music lessons when I was in 4th grade. So I guess I was 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, and so I started playing clarinet. But by the time 5th grade came around, I kicked ass. So.
Did you beat the learning curve that your mother had set?
I had just met it.
Okay, good,
so,
good.
Yeah, I guess she did good on that. And then so I played clarinet for a few years, and then I was in when I was I guess like 12 years old or something. I started playing tenor saxophone in the jazz band.
Oh yeah.
And then I sold my tenor saxophone to get a guitar, because that's what rock stars do. They all sell their tenor saxophones to get a guitar, and that's when I started playing. So I think I was in like 8th grade. I was like 14 years old or something like that. So that's when I started playing.
That's pretty
guitar,
awesome.
Seriously, I was playing in a rock band. Our 8th grade science teacher named us. We were a rock band, so he named us Igneous. Yep.
That's pretty cool. So you played clarinet, and then you're like, yeah, I'm going to sell my tenor sax to fucking be a rock star with a guitar.
I started listening.
Did you get a solid body, or did you get like an acoustic guitar?
Well, I stole my older sister's acoustic. She played a Johnson, and it was all, the neck was all warped. It was in a pretty solid U shape, kind of like a W, actually, by the time I stole it. And just learned chords on there, and then I got a solid body after I sold my tenor sax.
Yeah, because you wouldn't really, if you sell your tenor sax to get a acoustic guitar, that's kind of lame. But if you get a solid body, you know, and you get a nice telly
it's
or
like a
Fenders.
Yamaha Pacifica, I think a Vox Pathfinder 15 or something.
Yay.
So a small amp.
Nice.
So yeah, but you know, I grew up listening to. My dad was a big Grateful Dead fan, and there was The Doors. It was another one that we had playing around the house a lot. So
Great.
that was music I grew up on. Through that, I guess I found folk music. The Grateful Dead, you know, they write a lot of their stuff. They got Robert Hunter, who's a great lyricist. But you start looking at some of the songs and where they came from, and a lot of those are folk songs. And you start listening to Jesse Fuller and the people who wrote, you know, Mississippi John Hurt, the folks who wrote the Grateful Dead stuff that they were covering. And then you start looking at some of the other songs, and you're like, they're just from this guy named Traditional. I don't know who that is. You start listening to some traditional music, and then that's how I got into folk music. So I started playing folk music and bluegrass after that.
Nice. That's great, yeah. You're a badass, Mikey Hoffman. This is fucking great, dude. You like that? You're probably out of that one shot now. I sit in a psychologist meeting. When you graduated to folk singer, were you like honorary harmonica player at that point?
Well, I played harmonica. I mean, the idea was that, you know, I started off and I was an electric guitar player, and the idea was I was going to be like Slash or something. I was going to shred. My name was going to be Shred. I was just going to shred. I was going to be playing sold out stadiums, you know, everything that like a 13, 14-year-old boy with an electric guitar wants to do. And I realized the whole soloing thing is really hard to do, and I couldn't do it. So I went back to acoustic guitar. And instead of soloing, since I couldn't play, I mean, I know 3 or 4 chords, and the capo is a real godsend. So, after trying to play the guitar, I decided I should probably do what Bob Dylan, you know, and all the other guys that can't play guitar do.
Or sing.
And get a harmonica or a couple of those, yeah.
So have you always sang? Did you sing with like the choir or anything?
I don't know if that's to be on here.
Why not? We can hear it in your music.
Wiki, man, I want to ask you a question now. You know, it's so great being here on the jgwicki show. I think that this is a great show. I actually have been following this for all 3 episodes. And I like the Jared Chadle ones. I like the Pat Hugh ones. But I was wondering, I feel like they don't ask you enough questions, man. And so I was kind of, and I saw that one where Jared Chadle interviewed you, which was a great episode. But I was kind of like, when did you start deciding to produce and record music?
Well, back in 2002, I had this machine my buddy let me borrow, and I got a harmonica recorded for like 3 measures. And ever since then, I've just been trying to get a signal.
Like on a tape player?
It was on like a one of those old recording machines that had a zip drive you shove in it. It had like a couple little plugins that I didn't know what they were for. And I could plug in a 1/4 inch though to it. And I got a track to the built-in stuff, and that's it. And then that worked for a couple minutes, and then never got anything else out of it. And then like 10 years later, I start cutting MP3s and start just building
a
over
single harmonica track.
Yeah, just a bunch. Yeah, started with a single harmonica track I got through, and ever since then, like I said, I've just been trying to get a signal to microphones, and I got more microphones and signal channels now to make it work.
Yeah, one thing that surprised me about you though is that like when we recorded my album, I think I was the first album that you recorded.
I believe it is.
I think it is.
It's true. Yes.
And when we recorded, so there's microphones all over the place. And when we recorded, you had 2 microphones.
It was actually it was this one and this one. Yeah, these 2 microphones.
So you had 2 microphones. But I mean, there's like cases of microphones here. So you know, like if I was in Lawrenceburg, I would totally come up here and rob stuff.
So you have this Uptown band. You're Cincinnati folk singer, but this says and his Uptown band. Who's the Uptown band?
Well, so on the album, the Uptown band is Elia Burkhart, and we met when I met him at his house. He used to live so he was in the north side of Cincinnati, and he used to do house shows. So they'd host a bunch of touring bands. So I went down there one time because my bluegrass band was going down there, and we weren't on the bill for one of his shows, but we were gonna just kind of jump on the stage at the end and start playing. We didn't have a bass player, And we were talking out on the porch with this guy that I didn't know who it was. It turned out to be Elia, and it was his house. But we were just talking about our bluegrass band, how badly we needed a bass player, and he was a bass player. So he started playing this bluegrass band with us. We were called the Possum Bottom Minstrel Bluegrass Band. We were a 7-piece bluegrass band, and Ely was our bass player. And then Ely and I broke off and started doing this other band. So I could, the bluegrass band was great. 7 people is a lot of people in the bluegrass band. I think we all got together to practice like twice, and that really showed up on shows. Just doing like small local gigs. You can't really make money or practice or sound good, if you're a 7-piece bluegrass band that doesn't practice. We like almost all of us were in college, so we just had a bunch of stuff going on. So Elia and I started doing this uptown band thing, and he's a great songwriter. He was in a band called Elia and the Natural Horns at that time, and so we started playing together, and we put that album out. And since then, we've added Mike Conley on the guitar. He plays a pretty mean Telecaster. So.
He's on the videos that we have out of here.
He's on the I think those are maybe the only recordings we got with him. He'll be on the next album coming out. I just went to the dentist. I was chewing something. I think it was gum. It was something soft, and part of my tooth ripped out, and I had this big cavity. And my dentist told me when I went down there that I was probably gonna need a root canal, and that sounds expensive. So I'll probably record an album soon, and Mike Connolly will be on there. So.
You ready for this?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so how did you meet Mike Connolly?
Mike Connolly, yeah, he grew up in Norwood when I was living in Wyoming, Ohio, and we grew up because we were both folk singers. But before we were 18 and could play anywhere, especially before we were 21, you got to be 21 to play most places in Ohio. There was a place called the Cup and Saucer in Elmwood Place, Ohio, and right across from there was a place called Dirty Jack's. It was called Charlene's. They shut down and called like Charlene's. It became like a 35-up swingers bar. But both those places, and they were pretty close to me growing up when I was starting off folk singing, were they were what are we talking about? How Mike Conley? They allowed they would serve food, and they did music early enough where they allowed they allowed younger people to come in. So as long as you're 18. You could play music there. So once we turned 18, we started playing music. We were doing a bunch of shows together there because they're like the only places that would allow us to play. He was a great folk singer, and a few years later, he was playing Telecaster, doing a lot of chicken picking kind of stuff with some other bands. He was playing with a bunch of Grateful Dead cover bands. He was in the Maui Pranksters, doing festivals and stuff like that for a summer. So hit him up and said, hey man, come play. We're looking for a lead player. We were thinking about doing banjo or mandolin or something. But the guy plays a pretty mean telly, so we were thinking, Ely and I decided maybe we should have this guy sit in with us sometime. So it was at our CD release party in May 2015 when we released the album. Wiki produced it, jgwicki show, and ever since then, the guy killed it. He killed on that CD.
Yeah.
Well, you did that video. He's got a video on his page, Oh Bartender.
Yeah, that's a good one. That was popular.
Well, he kills it, so we decided to keep him in the band after that. My brother was playing drums on that.
Adam Hoffman. Plug your brother. Yep.
Yeah, he plays in a band called Benchwood Weiss. It's kind of jazz fusion kind of stuff.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
I think he was kind of bored playing.
It's too. Like, you played a few songs for us in the studio, and we're going to show those off a little bit.
Yeah, if I have to. I came down here and Wiki demanded I played Lake Superior. So.
Yeah, should I tell the story about what motivated me to... No, I don't want to.
This is the saddest show I've ever seen in my life.
Recently here in the studio, we've had Willow Tree Carolers who have been tracking some scratch, and I have no idea when we'll be done with it, but look forward to that in the future.
What do you think about the Willow Tree Carolers?
I'll show you some footage here in a minute from some of their stuff.
Awesome, man. You're going to throw it on the show here?
I'd like to have them here on the jgwicki show for an interview. We're here often enough with them lately, so that shouldn't be too tough. And I'd like to get a few more live performances out of them, too, to be able to have throw up.
I was telling the Sparks Brothers, they all started a band called Sparks Brothers Incorporated. They're pretty cool. But, yeah, Moose and all those guys, they're really good.
Sparks Brothers. Yeah.
They did a house show in my place when I was living over on Fairview.
Oh yeah, nice. So you have some shows coming up in Cincinnati, right? You got some. You play out, right? You gig.
I got a gig, and I got some serious showage coming up. So yeah.
You have a show coming up Friday?
I got a show coming up Friday. That's with the Cincinnati Folk Singers Uptown Band. We're playing at, is it the Keynote Cafe? It's
Keynote
Aaron
Cafe.
Hendrick, and if you've been following the jgwicki show, have you had Aaron Hendrick?
No, I need to get him
So,
up here. It's Aaron Hedrick. Yeah,
Aaron
I need to
Hendrick,
get him
yeah.
up here to
And so-
do an
but
interview.
he's opening up that new cafe, so we'll be playing down there.
That's a good idea.
He's a great songwriter.
I'll do an interview with him Friday.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do.
He's a good songwriter. Yeah, do that, and we'll be down there. You're gonna be down there on Friday, so we'll be down there on Friday. I think we're playing at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We're playing earlier. Cincinnati Folk Singers Uptown Band, Keynote Cafe. And it's in like Browley or
Bromley.
Bromley.
It's right next to the Bromley Yacht Club.
Yep, Bromley, Kentucky. So near Covington, right? Right
Yep,
across the
it's right on
road.
the other side of the interstate.
And so that'll be fun. I'm playing on April 6th and on April 20th at the Overlook Lodge with a different group. And it's the first time they're doing this, but at the Overlook Lodge, they're going to do a house band, and it's got John Dahl from Part-Time Gentleman. It's got Andrew McFeeters from every band in Cincinnati, and Jeremy Smart with Midnight and the Well Diggers. So all those guys, and they're going to be backing me up on a set.
That's great.
And they'll play a set of their stuff. So
How do you feel about playing with those guys?
John Dahl asked me to do it a couple, like a month or two ago, and I was pretty honored. I told him, I was like, man, that's a super band. Those are my three favorite musicians in
Right.
Cincinnati, so I'm pretty excited to do 2 shows with them. And
Congratulations, by the way.
yeah, it's gonna sound good. So I would be down there on April 6th and the 20th if you're looking for something to do. And then there's the DeVita House, which are some good friends of mine. And they were going to do a DeVita Fest on April, I think it was the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. And so I was booked on the 24th. They just got shut down. They had a cease and desist order. They're a house show venue, and they ended up in Rolling Stone magazine. So
I heard that too. Molly told me that.
They are a serious venue, and they did really good.
Yeah, and they switch often. It's not like this is unheard of that they switch houses and go to a different venue, but it's the same guys doing the same great work in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Phil Rousseau is one of the guys living there, and I used to live with them. We lived before they started as DeVita House. They were Countdown House. It was 321 was the address, and it was just a few blocks over. And so that's where they started doing house shows. And I think I was on the first house show. I think it was a few New Years ago. And
It's awesome.
a band I was playing and then played, and I did a solo set the next night. And I was going to do a solo set for it was going to be the last show, actually, for the DeVita House, but they got shut down before. So, but they're moving all their shows, so I think that one will still be on. They don't have the location yet.
They all they've been happening at the Urban Artifact up in Northside. Is it on Hamilton Avenue?
It's off Hamilton. I think it's on Blue Rock.
Okay, right.
It's
Blue
a
Rock and
big church
Hamilton.
down there, yeah.
Right around there, yeah. You can go to Urban Artifact to catch the DeVita House shows until they get a new house. That is their house. Yeah. But it was really cool that Urban Artifact did that for
Yeah, I
them.
think it's awesome.
I
think they've been doing. I think they did some Rakes End shows too, but they've been moving them around Cincinnati. Most of them have been at Urban Artifact though.
It's some of the best sounding shows in Cincinnati.
Yeah, when I first saw that DeVita House was in a Rolling Stone magazine, I was like, oh man, they're gonna get shut down. It was actually a lot faster than I thought they were gonna get shut down. I thought they'd get shut. Right, but the second the house show venue gets national coverage, it needs to be shut down.
No more. Thank you.
Well, is that the show, man?
I think we got enough, I guess. I can edit that into something.
Can you make me?
Put something else in, yeah.
Can you make me look cool? Strong hail and a case of wine. Don't know where it all went in time. Down the gullet of some old coal mine near Lake Superior. I was in love with you. Took a while, but you were through. Just
went and found somebody new near Lake Superior. Teardrops, they fell from my eye on my romantic view of the South, that you would hit your head and kiss my mouth. 2 great wings is all it would take. Can't stop thinking of the peace we would make. If you would have stayed true, then I would have too. True to Lake Superior, colder than a face in the mirror. If there's one thing that I'm sure of, it'd be the one thing that I'd hold dear, that I ain't ever going back to Lake Superior. All alone in this little old country home, in the middle of a big city, longing for Lake Superior, longing for you and Lake Superior, longing for you and Lake Superior.
JGWicki Show!